the Scottish Government is giving its backing and its funding to a set of guidance that is misleading. I mean, it makes key errors in regards to equality and human rights law. It doesn't give any regard to the rights of parents. And despite what James says, I'm afraid it doesn't really give any regard to the rights of other students in those situations. And we have to ask ourselves whether the Scottish Government should be allowed to produce that sort of guidance without taking, or to fund and to back and endorse that sort of guidance without taking any responsibility for it. And
the Scottish Government, just to be clear, did not produce it, although they have given their backing to it.
They gave the backing to it and they gave the funding to it. And so it's very different, a group producing some advice to the Scottish Government endorsing that. And that's what they've done, and that's the issue. And what we say, I mean, I heard what James said, but the guidance makes it very clear that parents should be kept in the dark about life-changing issues that affect their children. And there's no age restrictions in what's being talked about in this guidance. So we're talking about children as young as 4. Parents should be kept in the dark, and that could be the parents of a young boy that the school takes a view has got gender identity issues. It could be the parent of a young girl who has to share overnight accommodation with a boy, and the guidance actively says not to let those parents know what's going on. But
it says they don't see a need to.
Yeah, well, yes, well, exactly. So if you're a parent of a young girl, and the first time that you hear that there's your child has been sharing overnight accommodation with a boy is when that girl comes home and tells you. I mean, is that right? Do we think that is a sensible thing?
But if the girls, we heard there from James that if the girls object or the parents object, then we can do something different, like put in cubicles, get changed behind a curtain, put in a rota system. Nobody's going to be forced into this situation.
No, but the guidance didn't. The guidance didn't really reflect what James is saying. It says that if somebody wants to share a room with other young people in the opposite sex or the sex that they believe they are, they should be able to do that. There's no reason for parents or carers to be told. So, at what point are these parents being given an opportunity to object? At what point are the children being given an opportunity to object? And this is.
But can you imagine what effect that would have on somebody who's transgender, perhaps a bit insecure about their own identity anyway, or the way other people view them, and then you've got letters going out to all the parents flagging it up as a big problem?
Well, can you think of what impact it might make on the young girl who discovers an overnight accommodation she is having to share with boy or boys?
But they're not sharing a bed.
Well, one would assume not, but they're sharing overnight accommodation without being told about that. I mean, okay, so where do parents get to fit into this? Do parents get to have any say over the upbringing, the bringing up of their children? You know, this is an issue for parents. It's an issue for the children. This young girl, this girl that we're talking about, shouldn't ever be put in a position as to decide whether she's happy to share her sleeping area with a boy or not. This assumes that trans rights trump everybody else's.
So Ciarán, how do you get round all of this then and keep everybody happy in this debate?
Well, of course, I mean, what the Scottish Government needs to do, for a start, is to withdraw their endorsement for this advice, because it's wrong. I mean, there's factual
It's not statutory, though. Councils don't have to adopt it.
Of course they don't. But what's being done is this guidance has been given out. It has the stamp of authenticity about it, the government's stamp of endorsement on the front of it. What do you think is going to be the reaction from local authorities and schools? And we know that local authorities are starting to look at this. We know that no impact assessment has been taken on the impact this is going to have on other people at the school. We know that from the Freedom of Information request that this one brave parent has taken it upon herself to put out into the public domain today. You know, I've been speaking to women today who are seriously concerned about it. They don't want to put their heads above the parapet because they feel there is so much at stake for them.
Right. So you're going to challenge it?
Active, but for them it's a red line. This is a red line for them.
So you are going to launch a legal challenge?
Well, that depends upon what the Scottish Government is going to do. But as I say, what it needs to do is to start by withdrawing its endorsement, advising that the guidance isn't followed, there's errors in there, serious errors that need to be corrected, and it needs to adequately explain what steps it took to correctly consider the law before it took its decision to both fund it and to endorse it.